Good morning, everybody. My name is Victor. I like to work with really complicated technologies and building really magical experiences for users. I've done that at a few places, NASA, at Amazon, and now at Toyota Research, where we're building a city of the future next to Mount Fuji. That should be opening in the next 6 months. But the reason why I'm here is that I'm still very closely affiliated with JPL and ETH Space. And the main thing that I'm doing for them is thinking about how do we do space faster outside the normal confines of government agencies and space policy. And one of the ways I think we can do that is through non-traditional partnerships. Now, what do I mean by non-traditional partnerships? Well, let me show you a few examples. So back in 2012, when the Curiosity rover was landing, we partnered with Xbox to put together NASA's first console video game called Mars Rover Landing, where you use your body to kind of steer the craft as it lands slowly on Mars. It was a short, maybe 10-minute game, but it was really fun to think about how to connect different industries together. Here's another example. We worked with Google Creative Labs, and we took these 3D models, these really beautiful spacecrafts, out of the NASA websites and into your space with the AR capabilities at that time. This was a few kind of years after the first experience. And just to throw one last thing out there that's kind of fun, I also helped work with Nike to put together NASA's first sneaker. Right? These were if you guys follow basketball, these are the PG3s with Paul George. And they came in a lot of cool colorways. This is the orange kind of jumpsuit from Apollo. And also my favorite, which is the silver lunar version, which is appropriate for today. So I know some of you guys are thinking, oh, this is all fun and games, right? This is all kind of you could argue this is all outreach related. How does this actually help further space missions? So I'm going to get into one kind of case study a little bit deeper, just to tell you a little bit more about that. So for that, I want to talk about Project Sidekick. Maybe some of you guys have heard of this. This was a project with Microsoft where we aspired to send an AR headset to the space station. The astronaut would wear it, and people on ground could communicate with them in real time and guide them through these procedures that they weren't trained on. This is extremely valuable, especially with the recent Boeing mishap where the astronauts are stranded for much longer than they were expected. They were not trained for these extra days. How do we help them, assist them when and where they need it? And so we kind of created this idea where, for example, the astronauts on the space station, they need to do some activity, for example, stow or pack something. They wear these headsets, and instead of looking at these paper procedures or procedures on the tablet, the procedures are in the 3D world in front of them. They can get up and close, it's full scale, and they can walk through these procedures as if there was an expert on the ground working with them. A really hard concept. We started right away working with the ISS office and the crew office at Johnson Space Center. We went through a bunch of different kind of training montage, essentially. We certified this device. We modified this commercial device to work in microgravity, certified it in 0G. We then dived underwater to train with the astronauts in Nemo so that they were prepared once they were in space. Then we launched it. The first launch actually exploded, and then we launched it again. And then it worked, right? So we were able to get it ready for Scott Kelly during his 1-year journey in space. We got it to him right before Christmas. It was his present. We checked it out with him for 2 hours, and he was able to actually perform really valuable work with us on ground. So what's next, right? What else can we do with this kind of stuff? Well, just recently, we certified the Snapdragon chip on the Mars helicopter, right? So this is the chips that are in basically most of our phones. And if we can do this, what else can we do, right? And so that's what I would like to learn and talk to you guys more about for the rest of these sessions. I'll just mention a plug here. Caltech recently launched this thing called the Brinson Exploration Hub. Harriet can talk more about this also. But we're really trying to think about how do we create entities, startups, and ecosystems outside of NASA that's doing that type of work, like accelerating through partnerships, through non-traditional means, and through working with people like you guys. So thank you very much. I'm Victor. Looking forward to talking to you guys more.
Do we have questions, comments? requests. Yeah, over there.
Victor, what do you find is the biggest barrier that you face in getting these partnerships off the ground?
Thanks. The biggest barrier, I think, is just lack of imagination. I think there's a lot of people who, you guys have all worked with people in NASA that they think a certain way. And so even at JPL, right, we're the best. We have to build everything ourselves. And I don't think that's true anymore, right? So I think the more we can work with other people, the more things we can do to get, do more with less, right? We're all limited in funding. NASA's under a crunch right now. So how do we lean on other expertises to do more things in space? So I want to do a lot of weird experiments in space. I want to do them faster. I want to take on more risks. Instead of $1 trillion, $1 billion robots, I want to send 1,000 $100 robots, right? How do we enable some of those things?
When you say lack of imagination, is that also true for the industry side, like Xbox and the other guys? Like, let's just say you want to go to pharmaceutical companies, they definitely can lack imagination like that. And how would you get around, like, do you use visuals? How do you inspire them?
I think it definitely goes both ways, like the lack of imagination. I think it's just people generally, they're in their world, right? And it's hard to think outside of their world. So I don't know, I try to create environments. I think some folks were talking about interdisciplinary collaboration. I think that's really important, right? It get people of different disciplines in a room, designers, researchers, engineers, scientists, and jam on things, kind of like what we're doing today, right? The more we can create environments like this, I think the more we can push other industries to get more involved.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.